in the days when historians supposed that history had begun with Greece. Europe gladly believed that India had been a hotbed of barbarism, until the Aryan, cousins of the European peoples, had migrated from the shores of the Caspian to bring the arts and sciences to a savage and benighted peninsula. Recent researches have marred this comforting, picturesque future. Researches will change the perspective of these pages. In India, as elsewhere, the beginnings of civilization are buried in the earth, and not all the spades of archaeology will ever quite exhume them. Remains of an old stone age fill many cases in the museums of Calcutta, Madras, and Bombay, and Neolithic objects have been found in nearly every state. These, however, were cultures, not yet a civilization. In 1924, the world of scholarship was again aroused by news from India. Sir John Marshall announced that his Indian aides had discovered at Mohenjo-daro, on the western bank of the Lower Indus, remains of what seemed to be an older civilization than any yet known to historians. There, and at Harappa, a few hundred miles to the north, 4 or 5 superimposed cities were excavated, with hundreds of solidly built brick houses and shops, ranged along wide streets, as well as narrow lanes, and rising in many cases to several stories. Let Sir John estimate the age of these remains.
These discoveries established the existence in Sindh, the northernmost province of the Bombay Presidency, and the Punjab during the 4th and 3rd millennium BC of a highly developed city life and the presence, in many of the houses, of wells and bathrooms as well as an elaborate drainage system, betoken a social condition of the citizens at least equal to that found in Sumer and superior to that prevailing in contemporary Babylonia and Egypt. Even at Ur, the houses are by no means equal in point of construction to those of Mohenjo-daro.
Among the finds at these sites were household utensils and toilet outfits, pottery painted and plain hand-turned and turned on the wheel terracottas, dice and chessmen, coins older than any previously known, over 1,000 seals, most of them engraved, and inscribed in an unknown pictographic script faience work of excellent quality, stone carving superior to that of the Sumerians' copper weapons and implements, and a copper model of a 2-wheeled cart, gold and silver bangles, ear ornaments, necklaces, and other jewelry, that they might have come out of a Bond Street jeweler's of today, rather than from a prehistoric house of 5,000 years ago. Strange to say, the lowest strata of these remains showed a more developed art than the upper layers, as if even the most ancient deposits were from a civilization already hundreds, perhaps thousands of years old. Some of the implements were of stone, some of copper, some of bronze, suggesting that this Indus culture had arisen in a Chalcolithic age, in a transition from stone to bronze as the material of tools. The indications are that Mohenjo-daro was at its height when Cheops built the first Great Pyramid, that it had commercial, religious, and artistic connections with Sumeria and Babylonian, and that it survived over 3,000 years until the 3rd century before Christ. We cannot tell yet whether Mohenjo-daro represents the oldest of all civilizations known, but the exhuming of prehistoric India has just begun only in our time as archaeology turned from Egypt across Mesopotamia to India. When the soil of India has been turned up, like that of Egypt, we shall probably find there a civilization older than that which flowered out of the mud of the Nile.